Hey, hey, you guys. It's David, and it's Valley and Beyond. We're live this morning, and we're going to chat a bit about meditation. And I'm going to light my little candle here because I think, I don't know, I don't even know why I like the candle, but I like the energy or the idea of that energy in the room. And I feel like what's his name? It was a TV show I watched it when I was a kid, and the guy would, walk you around and show you all the little characters. Anyway, so tell me, I'd like to know a couple of things. And if you're watching this morning, you're watching it this week, or you're watching it, do you meditate? If you do meditate, what are the benefits? What do you get from it? What's the deal? Why are you meditating? And B, if you don't meditate, and why not? I have been kind of looking at this for a long time. Well, the honest truth is that most of my life I've been in a I should meditate kind of a space. I've been a reluctant meditator, and so I can relate to people who I talk to all the time who are not. They come in this little room a lot. I'm here talking to people all the time. And I'll say, do you meditate? And they're like, well, no, not me. And I hear that a lot. And I say, well, how come? Well, I don't know. I don't have the time, is one thing that people say. Another thing that they say is, I can't get my mind to stop. And I'm going to talk about that in a bit. If you have a busy mind, I'm your man. But nobody says that they shouldn't meditate or that it's not a good idea. Some are a little afraid, like they're totally, they actually don't know how to spell meditation. And they're kind of like, are you friggin' kidding? I wouldn't do that. Something like that. But not many. Most people, at least if they get to this store, they're in the realm of, like they do meditate or they would like to, but and I think that one of the main reasons is not because they're lazy, although they might just be fucking lazy. I don't know. Anyway, but I think that is that a lot of times people don't see the benefits. They don't see the why. The why is not big enough. Why should I meditate? Why should I take that time to meditate? And so we're going to talk about the why. And let's talk about, first of all, your crazy monkey mind. Does anybody have a crazy monkey mind? And that's always going, never stopping, and always thinking, running around and sorting out the problems of the world, or your own problems, real or imagined, and some of you will relate to that, the monkey mind syndrome. And no slander on monkeys. Just saying that the monkeys. If you ever watched them, I go to Bali, to Ubud, and go to the monkey forest, and they're they're always busy, and they're always up to something. They're mischievous and that kind of stuff. So let's talk about the mind. So your mind is a tool. It's not you. And just stop for a second and think about your mind. So who do you think is thinking about your mind? Who's watching your mind? So, when you have tried to meditate and you're even in complaint about your mind, damn, mind won't stop. It's always, I can't meditate. My mind's doing this and this and this, and so it's almost like a pet. It's something separate. You are not your mind. It is actually a tool, and it's a kind of an undisciplined tool, and it does whatever the hell it wants, and it gets you in trouble. I believe, I'm not a therapist, but I guess I've always considered myself for many, many years kind of a backyard shade tree neighborhood therapist. I'm just not a therapist, but you know what I mean. I've been the study of psychology has been and self-help and spirituality has been a big thing for me. I guess because I was so fucked up. So I was always searching for answers, and I've done tons and tons of personal development groups, and 40 years of reading and searching, and so what I found out is that sometimes my mind is not my friend. It's a crazy mind, and it dreams stuff up, and it has a color to it, and some of the color of my mind has been the color of fear. Yeah. The color of victim, and and many people that I meet and talk to on a regular basis are live in their story, their victim story, their the world's against them story, their I'm not good enough story, and so it's hard to want to meditate if we're really attached to that story. That's my what I've seen is that because ego doesn't want to get broken out of that story. It's a prison of our own making, and often started when we were really, really young, and something happened, and we were labeled a victim by others or ourselves, and that's kind of how we've gone through life. And does anybody that's listening, is anybody interested in busting out of the victim story, and having an amazingly, better life, living more in our full potential, and because when we're in that, and it's hard to see, but if you think about it, there's something, that for many of us, there's something that kind of keeps us from having, the love that we want, and the success that we want, and the contentment, the peace of mind, the bliss that we imagine others have, and others do have. So would if that exists for you, I believe that meditation can be the way out, but there will be resistance. There will be resistance. Damn it, there will be, because we're really attached to that story. The I'm not good enough story, or I'm a victim story, or the world, things don't work out for me story, and can anybody relate to that? It's and I can understand if you don't want to come out publicly and talk about that, but get in touch with me privately, because it's kind of my mission in life. I get to work with lots of people in these days in the symptoms of that, which is often alcoholism and drug addiction. And I in my personal life, I had that was my story, and I was gratefully quite a few years ago, I got to have a life without that, and I'm grateful, and I give thanks to my God, as I understand Him, for that on a daily basis. But it didn't mean because I stopped using or drinking that I still didn't have that I wasn't still colored with fear or anger or bouts of depression, and because it happens, but I've made it my lifelong journey, really, to live a more full life, and so what I'm going to do share some of that with you, how you can live a more full life, and what the benefits are of that. And so I guess the thing that comes up the most is one of my teachers years ago, he really nailed me. He said, because his story was, is your life working? And my persona was working. Had this mask of everything's okay, and yes, it seemed to be working. I was married, and I had kids, and then I was married again and had kids, another family, and it seemed to be working. But the truth was, I didn't feel, something was missing, and it felt out of whack inside, and I couldn't get that something from outside, and so the relationship didn't fill me, and the success I've had some success, financially in life, that didn't fill the space, and so I spent quite a bit of time, actually about 14 years with this fellow in group, all over the planet, and his thing was, be here now. And I know that Eckhart Tolle says the same thing, and many of the teachers say that, and I recognized that I was never really present. I was always in my mind, in the past or in the future, and my undisciplined mind was running the show, and it was, throwing up the facade all the time of everything's okay, and but underneath that, I knew that there was something missing, and so with Paul, I traveled with Paul, off and on for years, and we meditated a lot. We would sit in groups sometimes, and literally meditate for like 2 hours, and sitting for 2 hours when your mind is trying to run the show is really, it's freaking difficult, and so eventually I had to just drop the mind, but to let it go, I really had to see that it was there, and come to, kind of understand the value of it. The mind's important. Without it, I wouldn't be able to tie my shoes, or wait my bum, or brush my teeth, or, or do, kind of drive to work or whatever. The mind has, it's important, but if I didn't recognize that there was something other here than just that busy mind, I would stay in it, and try to live society's game, try to, fulfill the destiny that's kind of set out by our society, and for many people, which is, they grow up in the neighborhood and go to school and go to university and get married and have children and have a job and raise their kids, and the kids grow up and they move out and have some success in their business. They get to travel the world a little bit, and they maybe get divorced and get married again, and they eventually they retire and hang out with their grandkids, and then the end comes and we die, and have we ever really been there? Were we really there, or were we playing out some script? And for me, I blew the script up, sort of, years ago, because I was like this, I was a adolescent alcoholic, and so I went off the script. I wasn't, they didn't know what the hell to do with me. And I didn't actually go to school. I was, a street kid, and in Toronto, and a street kid, in Vancouver, and although I didn't know I was a street kid, I thought I was having an adventure. So I did kind of blow up the script, and I didn't, follow the norm, and but it was funny because part of me wished that I had, it was like, holy shit, these other guys have got, such cool lives, and I'm struggling here with this, and but over the years I got to see that there was this desire inside of me to find a, what was going on here? Why was the script not satisfactory for me? Why did I not feel, complete in that? And through meditation and also self-examination and reading and being with teachers and prayer. I always ask the question, what's this all about? Why am I here? And at the same time, working and kind of trying to make a living and all of that. But my big question in life has been, what's it all about? Why are we here? What are we doing? And the answers can't be found in the script, in society's script for you or for me. And the answers can only be found really inside of us. And we can only get to that through being present, through meditating. Or meditation's one of the ways to drop into that. And there's quite a bit of bullshit around, and I hear people all the time. They come in and they say, "Oh yeah, I meditate, when I'm doing this, or I meditate when I'm doing that." And watch that the mind isn't just playing a trick on you. Have some intention to sit. Create a space and actually sit in the morning, in the evening, and watch what happens, because there's the mind will resist, doesn't want to break the script, doesn't want to lose control, and a lot of the control that ego has or mind has is based on fear. Who will I become if I'm not this? Even though I'm not happy with being, whatever it is, that's happening in our lives, and we're not happy being maybe alone, and so we're in a relationship because we don't want to be alone. We're not happy. With this feeling at work that we're going to a job and it's not fulfilling, and it's not, we're not loving it. We're not living our passion. We're somehow hooked to making a living. Where's the bliss in that? So in the script, it's hard to find bliss if you're living in society's script. And I'm not suggesting that we have a revolution here. I'm just suggesting that if you feel that way, if you wonder what the hell is going on, why am I here? Why does this marriage not fulfill me? Why do my kids actually not fulfill me? Where's my connection? And for many of us have found a connection with a higher power, with God as we understand Him, and that's sustainable. That's like, oh, okay, that feels good. And if it's dogmatic, it's maybe just a continued part of the script. But if we've actually found that space inside of us where that connection is, and it's not just a belief system or a story that we've been told, then we found it, and we're living it, and we're, we got a smile, and we have something to give away. We actually want to share it, But if it's just a story, if it's like just a belief system that we read in a book and hoped to God it's true, that someday, one day when I die, I'm going to have, some form of bliss, or, I'm going to, dine at the table. Well, I think that we're missing it. I think that today's the day to dine at the table. Today's the day to have that feeling. And I don't know that it can come from anything else but meditation. So I guess what we're doing now, what the hell with the whole idea that we're selling meditation space stuff. I mean, I love that. I love it because I think it's important. But what I'm going to do going forward is do what I can to help people see the possibilities from meditation, from when we sit and we recognize the mind, and we recognize that there's something more inside of us, that real joy can come, real awakening can come, and I don't think it can come any other way. There, it just doesn't happen from doing stuff, so that's the deal. The next forever. That's the deal forever. I don't have anything else, and it really I have resisted this, you guys, and it's been 40 years. I guess I'm getting to be this old man now, but I've been 40 years of study, 40 years of searching, and also a lot of time of resisting, giving it away, and really helping to make a difference in people's lives. And so if any of this rings for you, if you see yourself in this, there's more. There's more. The other side of it is, which was kind of the side that I came in on. When I first sobered up years ago, I knew I was in shit, and my opinion of myself was very, very low. I was like 25, and I woke up one morning. Literally, I woke up one morning married, and we had this beautiful 6-month-old daughter, and I was scared to death. I actually, as a kid, didn't believe that I would, I didn't think I'd see 18, let alone 25. I certainly never thought I'd make past 21. I was, that was the life I lived, and maybe a little egocentric, but there I was, 25, and with this 6-month-old daughter, and this lovely lady who was hoping that I might mature or wake up or become something. Who had married me, and but I couldn't imagine kind of changing for me. And so if you ever feel that way, if you feel like so unworthy that even a connection with your higher power or changing for you isn't a motivator, I thought that maybe I could break the chain of suffering with my daughter and subsequent children. I had a couple of more, so we had 3, and actually I have grandkids now. It's exciting. So, but it happened. That's exactly what happened. I got sober, and I was, a mess. Like I was unemployable and scared and uneducated but it did happen. And I have 3 beautiful kids that are having amazing lives and who are connected, who meditate and who see their spiritual connection and their as a priority in their lives, and it happened. So I want to share with you that whoever you are, if it doesn't seem like something that you want to give to yourself, imagine that it's actually something that you can give to your family and to your community and to the world. I have I'm talking a lot. Thanks for, if you're still here, I appreciate it. But I want to tell you how this all connects. There's this author that I've read a lot of, Dr. David Hawkins. Hawkins wrote, his first book was called Power versus Force, and Hawkins is great. Google Dr. David Hawkins and get his books, because they're so good. But Hawkins developed a scale, a vibrational scale, and he used kinesiology and muscle testing, and muscle testing never lies, and he built a system to measure vibration, and so sure, the numbers are arbitrary, but it works. And the 1,000 in his scale is like Christ consciousness. It's the top of the scale, and it's and then as we move down, below 200 is in grief and shame and guilt and anger and fear. And some of you will be familiar with those feelings, those emotions, and we're living in the lower realms when we're living in those, and often, I mean, that's we all have times in those realms, right? And in fear and guilt and shame. Yes. And then so from 200 up, 200 is courage, and then it moves up into joy, and into at 540 is unconditional love, and so what happens with meditation is it helps lift us up vibrationally, and it's the practical what happens when I meditate, when you meditate, is that you actually, lift up. You become higher vibration, and your vibration affects everything and everybody around you. If you ever walked into a room and there's some guy there, could be your husband, anyway, could be your son, could be whatever, who's grumpy and angry and fearful, and you can just feel it in the room. That's dramatic, but yes. And sometimes I have customers come in and I'm like, ooh, and they walk into this space and they feel there's an energy here that seems to be a higher vibration. Actually, that's a side note, but you're welcome to come and be in this space anytime. Come meditate with us. And so when you do this, if you meditate, this is kind of I think, encouragement or a motivator. You can make a real difference in your family and your kids, and you can be an example, and not 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, but maybe it takes, maybe it's 10 years, and when they say, I don't know what mom's doing, but boy, she's sure fun to be around, because she's meditating, and it breeds confidence. We become more confident because we actually get to know who we are. We've self-discovered, that we're not our thoughts, or our fears, or our judgments. We are, much higher than that. We're more akin to love and service, and so. But all of that can come as a result of a practice of meditation. So that's my deal. We're going to spend as much time as we can doing just this, helping people, reap the benefits of meditation. And I think that I think it's important that we're not faith-based. We're not selling anything meditation-wise. I'm not I don't have a meditation, teacher that we're promoting. We're just going to help people to learn to sit. And yes, there's many different styles of meditation, and there's you can get guided meditations on YouTube, and you can listen to Osho. I love Osho, and I've read so many books. The Autobiography of a Yogi, great book. I mean, there's lots of books from the East about meditation, and Michael Singer's got a great book that the Surrender Experiment that talks about meditation, and we'll give you some tips on books on a regular basis, and join our mailing list. We're going to do on a regular basis. We want to send out cool stuff about meditation. We want to try to inspire people to meditate. We want to inspire people to meditate. I think that there's kind of a couple of different things. One is that some of us come to meditation like I did in the beginning out of desperation. I was in trouble. I was trying to piece a life together after a whole adolescence and youth of active alcoholism and drug abuse. And meditation became part of that. It's part of a recovery, and because so I came into meditation out of desperation, And many of you will become meditators hopefully out of inspiration. You'll be inspired to make a difference on the planet. Your vibration makes a difference, and you'll be inspired to make a difference in your family, and with your kids, and with your loved ones, and for your husband. And so desperation, inspiration, I don't think it really matters. I think as long as we get there, eventually, if we're meditating, the desperation goes away, and that's when we need support to stay in, to continue to meditate, because ego will say, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, I don't have to meditate anymore, but if you stick with it, you find the bliss, and it's like, I get to sit down to meditate. In a minute, when I close my eyes, I drop into that space. It's like, and it's like this comfortable, space inside of me somewhere that is blissful. So and brings a smile to my face to tell you about it, And so I don't know if this helps at all, but that's the deal. We do a meditation group here on Monday nights. I call it Meditation Mondays, and 6:30 here in my shop, and I see that expanding. I have this huge vision, and the vision. I thought the vision was all about selling the stuff, and I think people will like the stuff. I think people love my stools and they love that stuff. But I'm seeing now, the deeper I get into it, that really my job is to help regular folks like me discover meditation without having to have some sort of a belief system or a faith that they need to join. And a lot of people associate meditation with Buddhism, or they associate meditation with Eastern religion, and I think that all religions suggest meditation. And so I don't think that we have to give up our religion to become a meditator. I think that it brings us closer to whatever it is that we believe is our connection with our higher power. Whatever you believe can survive and blossom in your meditation. And if you don't have a God belief, I think that's fine too. What I often say to people who say, well, I don't believe that there's anything else out there. We're kind of here by ourselves. My question is, do you believe in love? And if we believe in love, then love can be our higher power. Love is a power. We recognize it as love heals. Love is an amazing power, and so that can be, if you want to connect with something, if you want to have an idea of something other than just you, and kind of alone in the universe, connect with the idea of love, and I think that love also doesn't take anybody away from their religious beliefs. If they have a religious belief, it's often bathed in love and light, and so that's my deal. Touchy subject, talking about things, spirituality and religion and all of that, but it's easy to get lost there and be back in the script, and how we've been told to live, and when we find that space inside of us, then we know moment to moment. We have kind of a consciousness, a spiritual consciousness, and we know moment to moment what's appropriate, and we can actually be present as opposed to looking back to the script to see what should I do here, what should I do there, and having judgments on ourselves and judgments on others, and when we're present and centered, we can live without judgment. We can live, live free, yeah. And so that's my story. I have no idea how long I've talked for, but Earl, how long have we talked for?
35 minutes.
No way! That's so crazy. Well, if anybody listened to this whole thing, thank you. and love to hear your comments. This is the plan. We've got a plan, and we're just going to put it out there. And you know, if you want to meditate, or if you even wonder why you should meditate, let's talk more and more about that. And we're going to put that out there as much as we can. And we need some help with the vision as well. You know, obviously it's pretty big, and so if you're inspired, if you want to be part of this in some way, get in touch with me as well. And go to our YouTube page and subscribe for fun. And we're going to put a lot of stuff on there, and we'll have also speakers. You know, people coming on a regular basis to talk about the benefits of meditation in their lives, and how it's worked for them in business and relationship, and how it's helped them to be more centered. Yeah, we're going to do stuff like that. So love you guys, and yeah, come and visit us. And if you're having, you know, you're starting to get into the Christmas spirit, it's a kind of a time of forced giving and love, and which is really, really cool. You know, look around and see if there's folks that are, you know, like sometimes people get so caught in the illusion that you know, they're suffering, and they're alone, and so reach out to them. And I see love as an action word. You know, love is in you know, reaching a hand out and loving, you know, a loving hand. And so this is a great time of year to practice that. I mean, all years the time to do that, but this is a great time of year to practice that. So love you guys, and come and see us. Earl and I are hanging around the store, and people come in. We have some great stuff goes on in this room, so come and join us at any time of the day. Okay, love you lots. Talk to you soon. Bye.